and the limitation and the fear and the doubt pops up, because it's going to. You have this extra gear. You have this motivation in you that's like, yeah, like I get that this is existing, but I want life. I really want it. All right, my friends, we got a big, important topic today. And if you are ready to fully move past some of the limitations that has persisted in your life, watch this whole video. I'm going to give you a series of perspectives that will enable you to fully move past those negative patterns and things that always seem to hold you back. Okay, and it's a systematic approach. And the way that I'm going to do this is by reading a question that came in from one of my members, a sentiment that many of you probably share. And then I'm going to answer the question. And in that, I want you to take notes and start practicing the things that I'm going to recommend, especially at the end of this video. Okay, so an email came in to me and it said, Todd, I think I am stuck in a cycle of healing. I want to have more freedom and to create an extraordinary life for myself, but I keep running into my own blocks, and then I have to work on that. And I never feel like I'm getting anywhere. Is there a point where you aren't in the doubt and the suffering any longer? LOL, please help. So if you resonate with that question and you find yourself somebody who's been on a path of growth, but you keep running into the same patterns, give me a like on this video right now, because you are just part of the human race. And one of my favorite moments of awareness around this very topic came when I was in the middle of a 7-day deep dive personal growth retreat called the Hoffman process, which I did many years ago. And in that process, one of the things that we did was physically use our bodies to bash out some of these negative patterns. And I remember coming into the room early one morning, and there was a gentleman there, one of my classmates in the program, who was sitting there bashing away. And he's this really big guy, like 6'7", big giant of a man, but a gentle giant, beautiful heart. And he looks at me and he goes, you know what I'm discovering? As much as I bash these patterns away, there's just more of them. And I think that's one of the things that we all come to realize on the growth path, that when we're doing healing work on ourselves and we're examining our past and we're looking at why the situations persist, and we're doing self-reflection work and we're in groups, we're doing all these things to find our way out of these limiting thought patterns, these limiting beliefs that are creating limiting circumstances for us, we often find ourselves getting stuck in the same patterns. And the question does naturally arise, will I ever get out of this? And I just want to say, if you've ever felt that, that's a really beautiful moment to hit, that question of, am I ever going to fully get out of this? And I had a big aha on this very question about 5 years ago, where one of my mentors taught me the difference between healing and transformation. And the way that it was described to me, which is the gift that I'm going to give to you, is that healing work is very, very beautiful and really necessary up until a certain point in our own development. Healing work means that we are looking at the past to understand why some of these patterns really were created and persist in our lives. So think of healing as we're turning our gaze backwards and we're trying to understand what happened in our childhood, what happened in the circumstances in our lives that caused these patterns and ways of looking at the world that haven't served us. And when we do that, we uncover a lot of really beautiful things. We often begin to understand that the way we think about the world was formed by people, relationships, and circumstances that had nothing to do with us. These things just happened and we were too young to understand the full repercussions. But here we are as full-on adults dealing with these patterns. And it's very hard for us to get out of them because it's like a record player playing the same thing again and again. And healing allows us to turn our gaze backwards and shine a light on the patterns so we can make a different choice here in the present moment and create a different result moving forward. And I love that. And I've done more healing work than virtually anyone I know. I love healing work. And I was in communities of healing for years. And about 5 years ago, one of my teachers said to me, is it enough? Are you done healing yourself? And it's like a blip in the matrix. Like, what do you mean? Is it enough? Like it never ends. I keep finding more and more and more. It's like, okay, but is it enough? Is it enough? And he just asked me that question. And I meditated on that question for a long time. And I went back to my healing circles and my groups that I was doing all this work. And I started to observe that everyone was just focused so much on the past. And even though they had such levels of revelation and healing that had already happened, there was a constant focus on what wasn't right and trying to understand why it wasn't right. It was almost like the impulse to heal ourselves became itself a compulsion. And my mentor's question had me think, is it enough? Is it enough? Am I now ready to not have my gaze be looking backwards so that I can start to be present in the moment and look forward? And this is when I realized the real difference between healing work and transformational work. And transformational work really means turning your gaze forward and looking towards the future, and having all of your energy be focused on what it is that you want to create in front of you. And it really is a stage in our development to get there, meaning that we need to do some foundational healing work, but there really does come a point in time where a human can look themselves in the mirror and say, you know what? Nah. I'm not going to focus all my energy and attention on everything that's wrong. I'm not going to focus all my questioning on why. I'm not going to play the blame game, the anger game, and try to uproot all these patterns because I know it'll never end. I'm done with it. And what I want for myself right now, what I want for you right now as I'm saying this is to stop, look yourself in the mirror and say, enough. Enough is enough. And this was one of the biggest changes that ever happened to me, where I virtually started looking forward. And all of my growth work was turned away from the past and shifted into the future and fueled my imagination about what it would be like for me to live a life of full freedom, of full abundance in my relationships, in my health, in my work, in my travels, and my adventures. And I found the most extraordinary thing doing this, that making that shift. And I know some of you that are watching this are judging it right now, thinking that is ridiculous. We can never stop healing. Healing work is needed and necessary. But what I found is when we turn our gaze forward, it doesn't stop the healing that needs to happen, meaning that you still meet some of the negative patterns and negative ways of looking at things when you're gazing forward. You're still going to meet your limitations. You're still going to meet your fear. You're still going to meet your doubt. But by having that very foundational shift of intention, where you're now looking at it from the perspective of, I want to live my best future, and I'm excited and I'm motivated, it adds this extra level of inspiration and determination that allows you to plow through some of these old ways of being that I couldn't do previously. Because what I realized was that the healing work in itself had an energy pull to it, and it wasn't inherently motivating. I wasn't connected with what I was really trying to create. I had never taken the time to think about what is going to happen when I am healed. What a novel question. What's going to happen when I'm fully healed? And it's really that change in gaze where you start looking forward and you're like, hey, this is what my life could be like. And you start to generate those feelings and you start to imagine that future and you start to play with it actively in your life and you start to manifest new things and new ideas. When the healing work comes along and the limitation and the fear and the doubt pops up, because it's going to, you have this extra gear. You have this motivation in you that's like, yeah, like I get that this is existing, but I want life. I really want it, which is why my entire life's work has shifted into helping people imagine that future. What is that future? And this is a practice. There are things that we need to do to get out of all this negativity and ambiguity and lack of clear-headedness so we can fully imagine, have fun with our future. Just have fun with the idea that we are here for a very short period of time and we have the ability to create an incredible future for ourselves. And it's so worth going for it because why not? Why the hell not? So I wanted to be able to share that perspective. And it's something that I work with so many of my clients in my community, that we need to get away from this constant looking back and wondering why and move into what's possible. And can I create the emotions and the states of mind that are so exciting and enticing for me that they're going to pull me through all the hard things that I'm going to need to go through to get there. And that's what it is. So I hope this perspective really, really helps you. And I want you to really start focusing on the future. Do the work to imagine what is possible. Do the work to imagine what your life looks like and feels like when it's all played out, and have that be the thing that you focus on and allow the healing to happen along the way. By the way, if you like these videos and you like what I shared, give me a like right now, and also drop a comment about what you think and how you deal with this stuff. I would love to hear from you.